Hello, let's take a closer look at each feature of the Anthology AI Design Assistant system that uses AI. Right now we're going to look at the course image or course banner. We can access it either by clicking on course image settings in the left course menu, or we can click on the edit button on the course image. So here we're going to select the course image icon, and we have an option of using stock images from Unsplash. Now this is a convenient way to source images based on a keyword. So let's say that we're going to use just JavaScript as the keyword. As we search for an image, notice the names of the photographers or authors of this content. So AI is actually used by Unsplash itself to identify items in the picture and to process their entire inventory. But this is a really nice design because we get to pick images from a clear interface, and as you select an image, it takes really no time to put it as a banner in your course. Now I want to show you how this would look like if you were trying to look for this image on the Unsplash website. So we're going to switch to Unsplash here, and I'm going to look for JavaScript as well. So notice that most of the websites that make free content available have some kind of a business model. In this instance, of course, the website is driving traffic. They do have free content, so it's not, of course, free content as in free beer, but it's free as in it's freely being shared. Someone, of course, owns the copyright, and they have released that right to us as end users. And that's why the names of the authors are on that simplified interface inside of the LMS. But take a look at the upper images. These are all stock images. So if I click on one of them, it takes me to a different website, right? That's kind of the nature of design of websites. So I really like the fact that we can get images directly in the LMS in a very much clarified interface. But this is the same image that I was looking at inside of the LMS. Here is the author, and as you can see, I was able to select this image in a very reasonable and kind of civilized manner. And so 2 thumbs up for Anthology to add this feature. As I complete the process by saving the image, we can go ahead and post the image to the site. Now I wanted to take just a couple of seconds to share with you about Unsplash, what it is, and why it makes sense to use it. So Unsplash as the website is very familiar to web publishing industry, to marketing. There are many smaller sites that do similar work, often borrowing the content from Unsplash. But the idea is that Unsplash provides a hub, often for new photographers, for people who like to get their name out there. And so building a reputation by sharing their work for free is also a business model. We see this in open source, where developers contribute to various projects, and by creating the networking, showing off their work, they increase their reputation. So that's Unsplash. Now, Unsplash also provides details about the license and why they claim that in fact this is free or freely available content. And so directly from the website you can download and use images. You can use them for commercial and non-commercial work, and no special permission is needed. Kind of echoes educators' work with Creative Commons. Creative Commons have a set of permissions that we're familiar with. There are a set of icons that would express very similar legal attributions or legal permissions. However, when we use Unsplash through the LMS, we are going to use something called API. So the reason why inside of the course, when we go to look for images, right, our interface, I'm going to go back to the interface. Our interface is simplified. It has some nice buttons, and there's not a lot of the other fluff that would perhaps cause us to click on links that take us to other websites. Behind it, there's API, or Application Programming Interface. Now this API is being licensed and used by the vendor. For us, it's Anthology. So it's nice that Anthology is able to control the flow of information, and we use them as that conduit. So if you look closer at the API for Unsplash, it is used by many different websites that you are probably already familiar with. So I'm going to go to some of the examples. So websites that possibly you have used already. Prezi, very common among educators. There are partnerships across just very many different vendors. Looking at the detail of the license agreement for API, so specifically for the Application Programming Interface, there are certain quotas. So depending on how much we are using the Unsplash search, there might be fees that Blackboard is paying to Unsplash. And that's, again, nice to have kind of a enterprise relationship to take care of that. You can, of course, create your own integrations with Unsplash. There's the light and the full license of API. But this is where we kind of start touching on application of AI. It talks about understanding higher level scene concepts, metaphors, sentiment, complex semantic. So this is where Unsplash itself, as any vendor out there that's kind of above the water commercially, is going to use some version of AI. Not necessarily generative AI, but machine learning for sure, and say sentiment detection and so forth. Finally, great news that Unsplash is acquired by Getty Images. So what that means is that this is no longer just kind of a startup that is gathering and sourcing, crowdsourcing images, but this business is now cared by and possibly legally kind of regulated by a well-known Getty Images system that actually produces stock images. And so we'll see how this future turns out. But overall, this is a solid partner. It's a website that we can rely on. And again, 2 thumbs up for simplifying the interface, giving credit to the authors, which was not, as we saw in the licensing there, it was not necessary. But Anthology is giving credit to the authors. And if you do like a specific image, by the way, you can find images for your course banner through Unsplash. If you like the images and you'd like to keep the theme, you can click on the name of the author, of the photographer, and then you can download additional images. Perhaps you want to use them as module images or just throughout your documents. You can kind of keep the theme. And as you can see, we got redirected to Unsplash. This particular page has fewer streams, commercial streams from stock photos. So just a nice step into additional images for this specific image that was sourced based on our description. Well, thank you very much. And that's the first feature that we did a little bit deeper dive, the course image or course banner sourcing through stock images from Unsplash. Thank you.